Fear is a fascinating feeling. On the one hand, fear served as a protective mechanism for our ancestors for many thousands of years. It triggers our fight response, which allows us to defend ourselves against harm and helps us avoid painful situations, which is always a good thing. However, this same tool that has proven essential to our survival can also limit our capacity to explore new ideas, take calculated chances, and go outside of our comfort zone in order to become more well-rounded individuals. Basically, fear is an emotional reaction to something that is viewed as danger or threat. It is a basic instinct that is ingrained in our subconscious thought and serves to keep us safe. But in our complicated modern lives, fear frequently comes from worries and our perceptions of possible bad consequences, rather than from direct physical threats. This second source of fear is what we'll be addressing in this video. The Stoics understood fear as a byproduct of our experiences, judgments, and perceptions, rather than as something that was imposed upon us from the outside. The Stoics hold that our perceptions and assumptions about the world are what actually causes fear. Instead of being paralyzed by the fears, the Stoics accepted their worries as an essential component of the human experience. They believed that fear is a psychological experience that we can learn to recognize and wisely navigate to take control of our thoughts and behaviors. It's crucial to understand that not all fear is unhealthy. Ultimately, nobody wants to be hit by a car as they are walking on a highway, and their fear reaction is not stopping them. The Stoics did not advocate for us to try to live in a fearless state. Rather, they considered logical fear as a necessary survival tool that recognizes real danger and encourages prudent caution. They cautioned against illogical fear that stems from incorrect assumptions that it necessarily causes anxiety and pain. Fear is just a reaction we have when we think there's a chance we could get hurt, lose something, or have things not work out the way we want them to. This idea was encapsulated by the famed Stoic philosopher Cynic in his statement, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." For a little moment, picture yourself standing on a cliff edge. There may undoubtedly be a bit of nervousness because of the tremendous fall. Is the fear brought on by the cliff itself? The Stoics would contend that our sense of falling is what causes fear, not the edge. The fear fades when we adjust our perspective and realize that staying safely at the edge won't result in falling. The ancient Stoics held that in order to conquer fear, we must investigate our fears, confront them, and determine whether they are reasonable and worth our concern. So we shall look at the Stoic rules to overcome it. Our ability to judge is frequently cited as the quality that sets humans apart from the other members of the animal world. But this ability to judge gives rise to a double-edged sword. On the one hand, we can use it to make sense of the world around us by navigating intricate difficulties, making plans for the future, and crafting narratives. On the other hand, biases can taint our judgment, leading us to draw incorrect conclusions and cause a great deal of needless pain and suffering. Cure to this comes from objective judgment, which is the capacity to view the world as it is rather than as distorted by our own judgments and perceptions. We can reduce the layers of fabrication and distortion from the world around us to their most basic facts by engaging in the discipline of objective assessment. Consider yourself paralyzed with fear as you prepare to deliver a speech in front of an audience. Thoughts like "I'll forget my lines," or "people will judge me" may be the source of the nervousness. These are not facts, but rather conjectures that incite fear and amplify the possibility of humiliation. Now try to apply objective judgment. The fact is, you're simply speaking to a group of people. Nothing more. All the additional fearsome details are products of your mind, not the situation. Applying objective judgment does not mean ignoring the possible outcomes. It helps you distinguish between what's actually going on and what your imagination conjures up. This practice becomes simpler with time as we learn, and eventually it starts to happen automatically without any conscious thought. This is another method that at first glance could appear illogical, but applied in conjunction with sound judgment, It can help us confront our fears and gain the confidence to move through. The Stoic method of negative visualization is the process of examining our future, consciously imagining the worst-case situation and learning to accept it. Although this technique may appear excessively negative and even harmful at first glance, the Stoics cite it as a potent tool for controlling our fear and developing resiliency against it. The method's concept is that by visualizing passable bad things, we can accept that they are beyond our control and lessen the likelihood that they will arouse stress or other unpleasant feelings in us. At the beginning, we may have some guilt or a setback, but overall, we will be all right. Let's imagine you are afraid of losing your job because of a performance review you have at work and corporate downsizing. You can visualize the situation in extreme detail by using negative visualization. You might consider the moment you learned the news, the financial impacts, and the job search process. After giving it some thought, you'll probably start to see that it would also be attainable and possibly even full of chances for development. The concept of acceptance was promoted as well by the ancient Stoics. Acceptance in the Stoic sense refers to our capacity to comprehend and harmonize with the external circumstances that are beyond our control. At this point, let me clarify that acceptance is not the same as acquiescing to the reality around us or passively surrendering. It's just our capacity to step back from the circumstance and accept things as they are, without wasting time. From here, we can move forward with a clear map of our terrain, focusing on our own actions and what we can control. The development of our ability to accept comes hand in hand with our ability to reduce resistance to the things in life we have no control over. Fear is a common way for this resistance to manifest. Imagine the following two scenarios. We are trapped in traffic on our way to a friend's birthday celebration. We feel the frustration as we approach the traffic and realize we're going to be late. After 5 minutes, it indicates that we will be arriving an hour late. Now that our feelings of irritation have flared up into rage, now we are sitting in traffic, furious at the uncontrollable universe. We are trapped in traffic on our way to a friend's birthday celebration. Although we don't like to be late, we understand that traffic is a fact of life when driving. Therefore, it would be unrealistic to expect to never encounter it. We are also aware that we have no influence over the traffic. How we react to it is something we can control. We acknowledge the circumstances and try to figure out what we can do. We turn on a podcast to kill time and message our friend to let them know we could be running a little late. If we take small moments like this and multiply them across a lifetime, it's easy to see how acceptance can lead to a happier, less stressful, and less fearful life. Since the world around us gets louder, faster, and more distracted, mindfulness has grown in popularity as a strategy for mind control. But in the Stoic tradition, mindfulness is not just a means of meditation. It is also a means of being totally present, vigilant, and involved in our daily lives. The ancient Stoics believed that a lot of our fears stem from thinking back on the past or speculating about potential future events. Though it is human nature for the mind to become lost in a maze of what-ifs and if-onlys, certain situations are more likely to evoke regret and a variety of other unpleasant feelings. In this situation, practicing mindfulness serves as a counterbalance to the wandering mind. By keeping us focused in the now, mindfulness helps us avoid daydreaming about the future or harboring regrets about the past. Let's say you are going to give a presentation and you are terrified of public speaking. It's possible that your thoughts will quickly go to made-up scenarios like forgetting your lines or making a mistake. These ideas stoke anxiety, and you may lessen the strength of that fear if you return your focus. The Stoics referred to this detached examination of our emotions as prosody, a type of attentive mindfulness in which one observes their thoughts, feelings, and sensations while concentrating their attention on the here and now. You can conquer your fear in a day or two. Instead, you must follow the rules that I previously outlined in order to do so. I know what I'm going to say is overdone, but I have